The woman using dark magic against you out of anger and envy. Have you ever felt like something is happening to you that you just can't explain? Lately, you may have found it harder to sleep. There are nights when you wake up in the middle of the night, your heart racing faster than usual, as if something invisible is trying to reach you. Maybe you've started noticing strange things, missed calls, recurring dreams, an unexplainable sense of unease. But you haven't told anyone, because even you don't know how to name it. If you're hearing these words, then it's not a coincidence. The universe is guiding you to a very important point. A woman, driven by anger, by envy, by an inability to accept the light you carry, has sent toward you a current of impure energy. She's not doing it because you've done something wrong. She's doing it because she herself has been wounded, and instead of healing, she chose to manipulate. But my dear, you're not here to be afraid. You are a Sagittarius, the soul of the journey, of truth, of light that refuses to be dimmed. You were not born to be overshadowed by someone else's darkness. And today, in this very moment as you listen to these words, you are beginning the journey to reclaim everything that belongs to you. In this video, I will walk with you as we uncover the truth behind those unsettling feelings. Reveal who is sending these harmful signals your way, and most importantly, guide you back to your sacred spiritual strength, where no one can manipulate you again. Keep your heart open, hold your spirit steady, because what you're about to hear might be the answer your soul has been waiting for a very long time. And if this touches you, leave a comment. I'm ready to unveil the truth and receive the light that belongs to me. This isn't just a statement, it's how you send a signal to the universe that you're ready to step into a new chapter. A chapter where you no longer have to run from the dark, because you are the light. If you feel this message means something, hit like, share this video to spread this positive energy to more people. Because who knows, you might just be the reason someone escapes a spiral they can't get out of on their own. I've always believed, true light cannot be imitated. It doesn't need proof. It doesn't need permission. It simply shines, quietly, steadily, and it cannot be extinguished. But that's also why it makes people living in darkness uncomfortable. They don't resent you because you're wrong, they resent you because you dared to live truthfully. They don't want you to fall, they just can't bear that you're still standing when they've already been broken. Sagittarius is the embodiment of a fire that never sleeps. Within you is an almost instinctive belief that there's always something ahead worth reaching for. And you don't keep going because you're certain. You keep going because you believe, even if no one promises you anything. That belief, that light, is what makes you impossible to ignore in any room you enter. Even if you're silent or simply smiling, everything around you shifts. As if an unseen energy is stirring the air. And that is what some people can't stand about you. Maybe you've never thought of it this way. That sometimes, what makes people uncomfortable about you isn't your flaws, but your resilience. Not that you reach higher, but that you dared to stand back up. Even after being shattered. Not because you were better than them, but because you never stopped being yourself. I once met a Sagittarius woman. She'd gone through a broken marriage, lost her job completely, and was betrayed by a close friend. But there was one thing no one could take from her, the light in her eyes whenever she talked about the future. I asked her, "Do you ever feel angry at life?" She smiled, very softly, and said, "No. I only feel sorrow for those who let their wounds turn them off." That answer stayed with me for a long time. It helped me understand that Sagittarius doesn't win by being better than anyone. You win by staying true to yourself, even after nearly drowning. And perhaps, that is exactly what the other woman, the one sending impure energy your way, can't accept. Maybe she once carried light too, but for some reason, she lost it. And when she sees you, she sees a version of herself, but one she can never return to. Instead of healing, she chose jealousy. Instead of wishing you well, she cast spells. Instead of admiration, she looks at you hoping you'll fail. But true light cannot be cursed. You don't need to respond with hatred. You don't need to know who she is, where she lives, what she's doing. You only need to know, anything born from darkness will dissolve on its own in the presence of light. If you remain steadfast. You know, this world already has enough people trying to shape themselves to please others. But you, Sagittarius, you are a reminder that living authentically is still possible. That freedom isn't something grand, it's simply the ability to breathe in rhythm with your own heart. You don't need to dim your light just to make someone else feel safe. Because if your light has to be hidden for someone to feel comfortable, maybe they're not ready to be near you. And that's not your fault. That's their journey to walk. You only need to keep your flame alive. Because the world needs those who dare to rekindle faith in others, simply by living true to themselves. By not pretending to be someone else. By not dimming their light just to fit into a darker space. If you've ever felt isolated, misunderstood, or opposed by the very people you once trusted, know this, it didn't happen because you were weak. It happened because you've stepped into a new energetic frequency, one that no longer aligns with the old. And in that shift, some people will walk away. Some will resist you. Some will cast spells. But look at me, and hear this clearly. You are still here. Still breathing. Still yourself. And that is the most powerful kind of magic there is. If you've gone through something like this, leave a comment. Write, I still carry my light. Not just so others like you will feel less alone, but so the universe knows you've never given up the best parts of who you are. Sagittarius, you were not born to run away. You were born to lead. And in the next part, I'll share with you why the light you've been holding isn't just a gift for yourself, but the key to awakening a world that's slowly forgetting who it truly is. There are wounds that, when left unhealed, find another form to survive. And sadly, that form is sometimes the act of hurting others. Not everyone knows how to heal. Not everyone has the courage to face the wound within. So some choose avoidance. Some pretend to be strong. And some, like this woman, choose to use distorted energy, unresolved jealousy, to influence you. Have you ever suddenly felt lost, unable to sleep, or found yourself weighed down by a sadness you couldn't explain? Maybe you chalked it up to stress, to work, to the weather. But sometimes, that heaviness doesn't originate from you. It's a lower vibration trying to creep into your energy field. And at times, the source of it is a woman you once trusted. Maybe you helped her. Maybe you shared deeply personal things with her. Maybe you considered her a sister, a friend, a soulmate. But because you were transparent, because you gave from the heart, you revealed to her the parts of herself she lacked. And instead of healing, she blamed. Blamed your light. Blamed your freedom. Blamed the happiness you have, even though you paid a heavy price to earn it. I'm not telling you this to make you paranoid. I'm not here to stir fear or anger. I'm here to bring awareness. Because sometimes, what drains you isn't work or responsibility, it's the energy you're carrying that doesn't even belong to you. And you can't heal a wound that isn't yours. Just as you can't be better to satisfy someone who's chosen to live in the dark. I once witnessed someone completely drained from trying to save a toxic friendship. She was a Sagittarius, kind-hearted, generous, always believing that love could heal anything. But what she didn't understand was this. Love can't heal someone who doesn't want to be healed. And not everyone you love deserves to stay in your energy field forever. That lesson, though painful, was one of life's most valuable ones. Because it teaches you how to set boundaries. It teaches you that love also needs discernment. And sometimes, the wisest thing you can do is to let go of someone who no longer walks at your frequency. That woman may have used words to smear you. She may have secretly done things with the intent to manipulate your energy. She may have performed some kind of spell, whether primitive or symbolic, to tie you down with fatigue, doubt, and confusion, just so you wouldn't move forward in your freedom like before. But my dear, there is no spell more powerful than a soul that has awakened. There is no energy that can penetrate once you truly own your inner light. Because darkness can only invade where there is no light. And if you stay grounded in awareness, gratitude, and connection to the sacred, you will become a field of light that any shadow must dissolve upon entering. Sagittarius is the sign of life philosophy, truth, and faith. You don't live just to experience, you live to find the meaning behind the experience. And because of that, when you face someone trying to influence you from the dark, you won't respond with hatred. You'll respond with understanding. By stepping away from that relationship. By cutting the invisible cords tying you to negative emotions. If this feels like it's speaking directly to you, leave a clear affirmation. I sever all energy cords that no longer serve me. Not just as a statement, but as a way to reclaim sovereignty over your inner world. Once again. And you know? The most painful thing might not be the spell itself. It might be realizing that someone who once meant so much in your journey has chosen to become someone who now holds you back. But even that is a powerful reminder that it's time for you to step into a new chapter. A chapter where you no longer need anyone's permission to shine. That woman is no longer the main character in your story. You can be grateful for what she once brought into your life, but you don't owe her your presence anymore. Let her stay with her own choices. And you have a much greater mission, to live honestly, clearly, and fearlessly, so you can light the way for those who are still trying to find themselves in the dark. When you live true, you don't just free yourself. You free those who have been silently watching you. You open a path for souls who've been waiting for a reason to believe that it's still possible to live with kindness, freedom, and authenticity, without pretending. And that is the greatest magic of all. In the next part, I will share with you how to protect yourself from harmful energies, not through fear, but through awareness. By connecting with higher energetic frequencies, you won't just hold your light, you'll become a source of support for those still lost in the fog surrounding them. Are you ready to walk that path? I once heard a very quiet, but hauntingly beautiful quote. Light doesn't disappear, it only gets hidden behind the choices we don't dare to face. Have you ever felt like you were slowly fading, not because someone hurt you directly, but simply because you no longer dared to live as boldly as before? Every time you stayed silent when you should have spoken up. Every time you nodded in agreement when your heart said no. Every time you turned away, instead of standing guard for a truth you once believed in. Little by little, the light inside you didn't vanish, but it dimmed. And one day, you no longer recognized yourself. Sagittarius is the sign of loyalty to the soul. You weren't born to obey, you were born to lead. But even you have wandered. You've stood at the crossroads. You've questioned whether to keep your flame burning, or let it flicker just to make life easier. I'm not here to judge you. I've been there. I've lived small so someone else could feel more comfortable. I've stayed quiet out of fear of being disliked. I've sacrificed my real light just to hold on to a connection that no longer nourished my soul. And you know what? The price I paid wasn't someone else's silence. It was my own. It was the sleepless nights filled with emptiness. The kind of exhaustion no amount of rest could fix. I've learned that sometimes the darkness doesn't come from outside, it comes from slowly abandoning yourself. From not daring to believe in what you once held sacred. From living inside a shell the world called fine, but your heart never did. If you're hearing these words and seeing yourself in them, please pause for a moment. Close your eyes. And ask yourself one honest question. When was the last time I saw light in my own eyes? My dear, You don't need to know every next step. But you do need to be honest with yourself. That light is still there. And it's time to choose again. To stand back up. To come home. To stop letting fear, or expectation, or the past define who you are, one more time. I once asked a woman who survived something terrible, "What helped you keep going?" She looked toward the window, where the sunlight poured in, and said, "I chose not to become who the pain wanted me to be." And that is the power you hold too. Every single day, you're presented with a choice. Not big or small, but this. Will you keep your light, or let the dark pull you back? Will you keep living truthfully, even if it means losing a few familiar things? Or will you stay, to make others more comfortable, at the cost of your own peace? Remember this. True light doesn't need to be accepted by many, it only needs you not to give up on it. The deepest lesson of this journey is, living truthfully can feel lonely. But living falsely will always leave you alone. And you, Sagittarius, were not born to run from the truth within you. You were born to face it, and from there, to light the way for those still wandering in the shadows. If these words are speaking to you, leave a comment. I choose to keep my light, even if I must walk alone. Not for others to see, but so that you affirm it, to your soul, to the universe, that you're ready to come home. And if today is the day you choose the path of light again, then in the next part, I'll show you how to create energetic boundaries. Not to hide, but to live powerfully in this world. So that your light doesn't just survive. It radiates. Not just for you, but for the world. Have you ever felt so exhausted that you couldn't understand why, especially when you hadn't done anything particularly strenuous? Some mornings you wake up and feel completely indifferent to everything, as if a thin layer of dust has settled over your energy. And then, you start blaming yourself. Telling yourself you're weak. Telling yourself you're not enough. That maybe you've done something wrong. But you know what? Maybe it's not because you did anything wrong. Maybe you've simply been exposed for too long to unclean energies. We're not only hurt by what others say to us, but also by what they silently project. A jealous look. A bitter thought. An unresolved anger. That's not superstition. That's energetic truth. I used to be someone who didn't believe in any of this. I thought that as long as I lived kindly and worked hard, nothing could touch me. But then, there came a time when, despite eating well, exercising regularly, going to bed early, I still felt like my body and mind were no longer my own. Insomnia. Restlessness. Mood swings, sadness, for no clear reason. And then, one of my great teachers in this awakening journey said to me, "You're absorbing energy that isn't yours." Just one sentence. But it changed everything about how I saw self-protection. You cannot carry your light forever if you don't know how to protect it. Especially for Sagittarius, the sign of openness, of trust, of connection. You love easily. You give generously. And you rarely think about building walls. But not everyone who gets close to you comes carrying flowers. Some bring cold winds. Some bring endless rain. And some carry shadows they don't even realize are there. So the most important lesson I've learned is to say no. No to invitations that don't make your heart feel safe. No to people who only come around when they need somewhere to dump their pain. No to interactions that make you feel smaller. No, not out of hate, but out of love for yourself. And when you begin to guard your energy as something sacred, you'll notice miracles start to happen. You'll feel less tired. Less self-doubt. No more internal chaos in crowded spaces. You'll no longer have to perform because you're no longer controlled by the energies around you. There are simple ways to protect yourself, no need for complex rituals. Every morning, before stepping out of the house, just close your eyes for 30 seconds and visualize a white light surrounding you like an invisible cloak. Just set a clear intention. I choose to guard my energy. I do not welcome what does not belong to me. That alone is a powerful boundary. You can also carry a small stone with you, clear quartz, obsidian, or tourmaline. Not for superstition, but as a reminder. I have the right to choose what's allowed into my field. That is your power. And it is the deepest love you can give yourself. If you've ever felt like your inner vitality is slowly slipping away, pause and ask, am I carrying an energy that isn't mine? And if the answer is yes, then let it go. Not everyone you love needs to stay. Not every place you once belonged is meant to be your home forever. If you've ever felt this inside you, leave a comment. I choose to cleanse my energy. I choose to return to the purity within me. Not for others to see, but to set a boundary, a sacred shield, around your soul. And my dear, when you do this, not just for yourself, but in front of others, you're teaching the people around you an invisible, yet deeply necessary lesson in this modern world. That protecting your energy is also an act of love. And of responsibility. In the next part, I'll share with you something beautiful that's on its way, the reward for not abandoning your light, for not betraying your soul, and for daring to keep walking. Even when no one was clapping. Are you ready to receive it? Some blessings don't arrive in the form we expect. They don't come wrapped in ribbon. They don't arrive with applause. They're not dazzling under the spotlight. But they come, quietly, surely, like a compassionate nod from the universe. After all those days you kept walking, even when no one knew what it cost you. Dear Sagittarius, if you're still listening to this, then I want to say congratulations. You've come far enough from the old land that you can't go back anymore. And because of that, you are very close to what others might call your destined reward. I'm not talking about money, fame, or any specific outcome. I'm talking about a different kind of gift. One that only those who stayed true to themselves through the storm can recognize. It's a serenity that cannot be stolen. A peace that doesn't come from controlling everything, but from no longer needing to control anything at all. You've experienced loss. You've been hurt. You've doubted yourself so deeply that it felt like you had nothing left to hold on to. But still, you didn't turn bitter. You chose love. You chose kindness, even in a world that wasn't kind to you. And my dear, the universe saw every bit of that. When you walk through the darkness without letting the flame inside you go out, you inscribe your name into a sacred law. Those who do not betray the light will be protected by it. And it's in the very moment you think you can no longer go on, that the miracle begins. Someone returns, not to start over, but to finish what was left undone. An opportunity appears, not from desperate striving, but from a quiet surrender. A long-awaited answer comes, softly, like a breeze. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. You have lived true. And the universe is responding. Let me tell you about a woman I once met. She was a true Sagittarius, idealistic, principled, not very good at pleasing others, but always sincere. She had been misunderstood. She had lost more than she had received. She had been turned away by the very people she once lifted up. But she did not change herself. She chose to keep her heart intact. And in her old age, what she had wasn't a fortune, but bright eyes, a home filled with love, and grandchildren raised with the belief that living truthfully is possible. I looked at her and thought, this is the reward the universe gives to those who do not surrender. And you deserve that reward too. Not because you're perfect, but because you are real. Not because you are stronger than others, but because you didn't abandon yourself, even when you had every reason to. So if today you feel tired, remember this. You're at the closing edge of an old chapter. And what you've sown, with sincerity, is beginning to bloom in a current you haven't yet seen. Don't give up. Don't turn back. Leave a comment if this message speaks to you. I am worthy of the reward the universe has for me. There's no need to prove anything. Just a gentle affirmation, like an open invitation to what is already on its way to you. And if you want to know what's waiting ahead, when you truly step into your season of blooming, then in the next part, I'll guide you into another dimension, where love doesn't come to possess, but to heal. Where you don't look for someone to complete you, but you find yourself reflected in the eyes of someone who is ready to love you, just as you are. True love doesn't need magic, because that love is the magic. Have you ever loved? Loved in a way where you believed that loving enough, loving sincerely, would make them stay? Loved so deeply you forgot yourself? Loved thinking you had to try twice as hard for them to see you as worthy? But one day, you realize, love alone is not enough. Because if love isn't seen, respected, and free, then it's no different from being forgotten inside the very relationship you gave your all to. I used to think, to keep someone close, I needed to do more. But later, I understood. The one who truly belongs with you won't make you perform. They won't ask you to shrink your light just to fit into their world. The right person won't need to possess you to feel secure. They will love you as you are. They'll stand beside you, not because you got it all right, but because you were true. Love is not a race to see who can hold on tighter. It's the space where you can remove your mask and still be held like something precious. No one needs to cast a spell to keep you. If they see your real worth, if they love the light in you and don't fear being overshadowed by it. The greatest lesson I've learned in love is this. Don't stay with someone who makes you hide the best parts of yourself. Don't choose a relationship that leaves you more tired than healed. And never confuse attachment with imprisonment. Love, if it's real, will always come with freedom. You deserve to be loved in peace. You deserve to hold someone's hand without having to work so hard to make them stay. And if you're still waiting for that person, then from the bottom of my heart, they are on their way. But first, come home to yourself. You don't need someone who changes you. You need someone who makes you feel safe being exactly who you are. And that person won't use distorted energy to control you. Won't play push and pull with your emotions. They will listen when you speak. And they'll stay even when you go quiet. They won't make you feel guilty for living your truth. If this message touches something inside you, leave a comment. I am worthy of a love that doesn't need performance or magic, only truth. Because the moment you dare to claim that is the moment you begin to open the door for the one who is truly meant for you. And my dear, in the next part, I won't speak about love anymore. I'll speak of something even more important, your life's purpose. Your mission. The deepest belief within you. Because when you live aligned with your true calling, real love will find you. You won't have to chase it. There are moments in life when you suddenly pause, in the middle of an ordinary day, and ask yourself, what am I really living for? Not for responsibility. Not for others. But truly, what makes my heart light up? Even if no one knows. Even if no one praises it? For Sagittarius, to live without a guiding belief or a worthy destination is like an arrow shot with no aim. You were born to go, not to wander aimlessly, but to embark on a pilgrimage toward your own truth. The challenge is, you don't always know what that truth looks like. And sometimes, you feel lost, adrift in a world full of noise. I've been there. I once thought I had to achieve something great for my life to have meaning. But the further I walked, the more I realized. Your purpose isn't out there somewhere, it lives in the things that make you feel light, alive, and right. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's listening deeply to someone. Maybe it's being alone with nature and feeling, in that quiet, like you belong in this world. Real purpose isn't fame, or status, or validation. It's waking up in the morning and feeling that there's something worth showing up for. It's not forcing yourself into outdated definitions, but becoming the one who rewrites them through how you live. My dear, if you feel lost right now, that's okay. The strongest souls rarely walk the obvious paths. And if everything around you feels too loud, too chaotic, that may be the universe's invitation to turn inward and ask again. What do I really want? What makes me feel truly alive? You don't need all the answers today. But you do need to ask the question. And to be honest with yourself. If you want to reconnect with the universe, start with stillness. A few moments of meditation each day. A few lines of truthful journaling. A few minutes of simply listening to the voice within. The one you used to hear so clearly, before life's noise dulled it. When you begin living from that deepest place, the whole universe will shift to meet you. Right people. Right places. Right timing. You don't need to rush. You don't need to push. Just trust that an invisible hand is gently guiding you, even when you think you're walking alone. If this speaks to you, leave a comment. I am ready to reconnect with the mission of my soul. Because you're not just sending a message to me. You're sending a clear signal to the heavens. That you're ready to live, not just to survive, but to truly live. And my dear, if you're still here, listening until the very end, then I believe this. You're no longer just a seeker. You're becoming a guide. And in this final chapter, I want to offer you one last message. A gentle promise from the universe. That you are not alone in this journey. That the light you carry is quietly softening the darkness in someone else's life. Even if you don't know it. Do you remember the last time you truly believed in something? With no reason, no proof, just a deep knowing? Maybe it was when you were a child, believing everything would be okay. Or when you first fell in love, and believed that honesty was enough. Or maybe it was that moment at a crossroads. Your hands trembling, your heart racing. But you still took the next step. Because deep down, you knew the path was yours. I believe that within every person, there is always a quiet calling of destiny. It isn't loud. It doesn't demand. But it lingers, waiting for you to remember. And when you do, it blossoms. Softly, but undeniably. You have survived things you once thought would break you. You have loved. You have lost. You have fallen, and stood back up. You've forgiven others. And learned how to forgive yourself. And if you're still listening to these words, you've come further than you ever imagined. Beyond the old wounds. Beyond the doubts. Beyond the scars you kept hidden. You didn't come here to live a mediocre life. You came to remember who you are. To call forth the destiny your soul chose long ago. Before you were even born. And today, I'm not asking you to believe in something far away. I'm simply asking you to believe in yourself again. In the light you carry. In the inner voice you've ignored. In the intuition that always whispers when you're lost. And if today, you're ready, then light up again. Not with something grand, but with the small, sacred choices. To live honestly. To believe in goodness. To not abandon yourself. Even when the world turns away. You might not realize it. But the light you carry, even if small, is enough to soothe the shadows in someone else's soul. And this world still needs more lights like yours. Right below is a vow to the universe. I am ready to call my destiny by name. I will not abandon my light. I choose to live true from today. You never know? A single heartfelt comment might reach and heal someone else reading this. Someone just like you. Who's been tired, alone, but still hoping that one day they'll get to live the fullest version of themselves. And if this message meant something to you, like this video, share it with someone you believe needs to hear this. Because maybe, just maybe, your small action today might become someone else's miracle tomorrow. And finally, thank you for not giving up, for listening until the very end, for holding onto your light in a world full of darkness. And if you want to keep exploring your soul's mission, true love, and real transformation, then follow this channel. Because in the next video, I'll take you even deeper, to a place only the bravest souls dare to go, where awakening is no longer a concept, but the very way you live, day by day. See you on the next journey, with all the light and love.